structure of the US court system is very complex, and I can agree that I was very confused before doing this video. I think that the best way to explain it is not to focus on the state and then the federal, but to focus on them together. So starting from the bottom and working our way up, one of the things that they have in common is that they both start with cases. The state court system hears cases that are juvenile, municipal, probate, criminal, and family related. These are all things linked to state laws. The federal court system hears cases that are related to federal laws, and they include crimes that happen on federal property, bankruptcy, violations of the Constitution, anything that's outside of state jurisdiction. All state court cases move to the trial courts first, which is the bottom of the state court system. In the state court system, original jurisdiction is held in the trial courts because this is where evidence is first being introduced. Trial courts also have juries to make the final verdict, and each trial courtroom only has one judge. Unlike the state court system, the federal court system does not have trial courts. Instead, federal court cases move directly into the appellate courts, specifically the U.S. district courts. There are a total of 94 U.S. district courts in U.S. territory. This means that there is at least one district court per state. The U.S. district courts in the federal system are similar to the trial courts in the state system because they are the original jurisdiction for federal cases. But original jurisdiction doesn't mean much when considering the level type each court is under. If you were paying attention, you may have heard me mention that the U.S. district courts are a branch under the appellate courts. Well, federal cases aren't the only kind of cases that appear in the appellate courts, because state cases appear here too. The state appeals court is the second court that state matters go through. From here until we reach the Supreme Court, all courts are considered appellate courts because appellate courts do not require a jury. They are cases that are not meant for the public or have already been heard by the public. Yes, you heard me right. There are more appellate courts. Following the state appeals court is the state Supreme Court, which is also known as the last resort court. This court comes right before the U.S. Supreme Court, and it's known as the highest state court of appeal. Equal in power are the U.S. Court of Appeals, which is also known as the U.S. Circuit Courts. There are 12 of them across the country. The job of all the appellate courts, no matter what type it is, whether it's state or federal, or highest or lowest, is all to review the procedures and decisions made earlier from the court with original jurisdiction. State appellate courts review back to the trial courts, while federal appellate courts review back to the U.S. district courts, all to ensure that the procedures and laws were correctly followed. Appellate courts do not retry cases or hear new evidence. Cases move up in the courts if either party hearing the case is unhappy with the result from that court. So if a party is unhappy with the verdict from the trial court, they can choose to move it up to the state appeals court. But not all cases are chosen to be heard, and this happens a lot in the U.S. Supreme Court. Sometimes a certain smell will take me back to the U.S. Supreme Court is the highest court in the United States, and it includes 9 judges. This makes it very difficult to decide cases, which is why they turn down so many of them. While they are on top, the U.S. Supreme Court has the power to hear the appeals from lower courts, just as those courts have the power to hear from the ones below them. This is known as appellate jurisdiction. If you're somehow lucky enough to have your case go to the U.S. Supreme Court and you don't like the decision that they make, sorry, you're out of luck because that's the highest court. Hopefully, the reason you've moved your case all the way up to the Supreme Court is not because you've been treated unfairly. Courts are not allowed to deny people of equal protection. Everyone in the United States has a right to due process, the fair treatment, and the justice system in regards to their case. It's important that everyone gets a chance to defend themselves or the people or cause that they care about. Your case might not involve a foreign diplomat or state government, so it will go directly to the US Supreme Court, but you will always have a route or place to go to state your claim. By the way, this is a really great chart I found, so I recommend pausing the video here and using it to help you understand the layout of the layers of the court system better. Everyone's ideas, facts, opinions, any of that matters, because if it didn't, why would the general public have the opportunity to act as the judge in a jury? It's important for the general public to be integrated in the justice system, and I believe the first step is knowing how it works. Hopefully this video helped clarify some of the complexities of the structure. Wake up, you need to make money.